Hi everybody, this is Pam. I am back again from Shabby Vintage Dreams to do another project share with you. This is something I designed and created and I am really proud of. I think they turned out so adorable, and I wanted to come on and share them with you um, this morning. I have created 9 of them and I'd like to show them all to you very briefly. And I would really appreciate your feedback and comments on this. I'm trying to determine whether to move forward with making some more. I'm not exactly sure just yet. They are a little bit time consuming, but these will probably make exceptional gifts for my friends and or my family members this year, whether it be for the holidays or for a birthday or whatever. I'm really proud of them. I just think they turned out so sweet. And they do have a very vintage retro appeal to me, and so I'd like to share them with you now and would, again, really appreciate your feedback in the comments below. Um, the first one is this, and what these are they are canvases. They're stretched canvases. This one is they're all, I think this one is about a 9 by 12 maybe. There are some that I'm going to show you that are a little bit smaller, but this one is a 9 by 12. These are all, the canvases have been painted, and then I embellished them and created these vintage ladies on the front of them. And the vintage ladies are actually made out of paper. I used different forms of recycled greeting cards. This is a recycled greeting card. Some of it is just scrapbook paper. I used laces, elements of laces and vintage jewelry, bits and baubles. This is an old vintage earring here. So they were just, I just had a ball making them. As you can see on this canvas, I stretched a doily around the center, and then I started placing my pieces down to make the lady. And her clothes are all made of paper with the lace trim here. This is a bling and a flower bit I had in my stash. Her earrings are flat back pearls. You can see I even put a little piece of tulle over her hat, you know, over her eyes, like the old vintage hats the ladies used to wear. Hope I'm getting this in frame. I can't quite tell. Yeah, and then I used rickrack, pieces of rickrack to make her eyelids and her lips. Decorated her hat with also the tulle and some bows, some seam binding, and some tulle here. I used little sequins up here on her hat. Outlined her hair, the edge of her hair, with a little marking pen so you could, you know, kind of give that a little more definition. On her face, I did use a little bit of blush on her cheeks. And yeah, then I finished up the bottom of the edging here with the lace and the dangle trim and the pearl, so that when she's hanging on the wall, can't get this back far enough, but when she's hanging on the wall, this hangs down against the wall. So yeah, so she's my first one, and I think I ought to give them names, but I haven't done that yet, so she's girl number 1 for now. The second one, I really love this one. This one has kind of a bridal look to her. Again, the frame on this one I did in a taupe paint in the background. And then this doily that I stretched around behind her is a very old vintage doily. And the texture and the color of that doily is so pretty. It really added something, I think, to the piece. On this one, again, I used the same pattern pieces for her basic face and her hair. And then I added, against a really pretty gold foil paper here for her hat, I added a really pretty applique on top. And then her little netted, the portion that goes over her face. So this could, you know, be kind of bridal, not necessarily, but I think it looks a little bit bridal. Her hair is sparkly in a sparkly paper. Actually, it looks almost a little gray, like she could be a senior lady. Same thing, the flat back pearls. And then on her dress, I did a let me get some glue strings here. You can always see them in the video in the light. I covered her dress in lace also, and did some flat back pearls and a really pretty bling bow here under her neck, under her chin there. And then the same thing on the bottom, the top. This one has the pearl, flat back pearl trim, and the bottom of this one is just the lace. Two different layers of lace at the bottom edge of this one. Yeah, so that's her. The next one is in a really pretty lavender. And if you'll notice, I did the skin tones in all different colors of paper. I was experimenting with, different skin tones. I didn't want everybody to look the same, obviously, so I got some different shades of skin tone paper, and I think that made a nice contrast for the different colors of the canvas as well. But on this one, as you can see, she's in purple and lavender. She has her little veil here on her hat. I made the entire hat visible on this one. On some of the other ones, it's just the top portion. But this is, you can see her whole hat. And the really pretty doily on the back. And then her hat, I have a black applique here with the lavender flowers. The flat back pearls again for her earrings. And then I outlined her dress in a black rickrack, used some black trim here on the sides for her, the front of her blouse. And then I used some black ruffle trim for the lace up around her neck with a really pretty piece of jewelry bling here to accent her, the top of her blouse there. And then this one, of course, I did trim in the black gimp on the top and the bottom, also with a real pretty contrasted pearl dangle here and the black trim behind it. So this is kind of like a black tassel-y looking trim, but it will be really pretty against a wall when it's hanging. Yeah, so this is the one in lavender. And the last one of this size is this one in a really pretty shade of pink, which I really, really love. She turned out really pretty, and I really am proud of her because she came along. She just evolved as I was working on her, and I kept finding different things that I wanted to use, and it just seemed to fit her. So on this particular one, the background, as you can see, is a soft pink, and then I did a really pretty lace applique on the background for the doily portion. I used put up the whole hat like I did the lavender one, and then I trimmed her hat in lace, found a piece of bridal applique up here to make a plume, like a feather plume in her hat, with another little piece of an applique here. Her earrings are pink flatbacks. Her hair is brown in this one. And she's also got the little tulle veil over her face. And then for her dress, I did her dress in blue. And then I found this applique in lace. I think it was part of a collar or something. I'm not sure. But it fits so perfectly up against her bodice, against the bodice of her blouse. So I kept the whole thing intact, and I decided to leave the bow on her blouse hanging. And I put a little doily center here with a flat back pearl. Also the trim here in blue with a jeweled piece there under her neck at the top of her blouse. And then at the bottom of her bow, her ties, I put a couple of little appliques, and I think you can see I also put a couple of rhinestones at the end, and one on this one. So they hang down over the trim at the bottom, which is also done in lace and a little bit of pearl trim there. So that's how she turned out. I love how the flowers in her hat blend with the pink and blue in her on the canvas and on her outfit. So yeah, I think she turned out really sweet. Yeah, so those are the large ones, and then I did some slightly smaller ones. These ones, I think those were 9 by 12. These ones are 8 by 10. Love the way they turned out also. These are just so cute. This one, now you'll notice on the 8 by 10 ones, they're not embellished quite as much. These are a little more simple. But the canvas, the stretch canvas, again, is just a plain, you know, they're all the same. The mint green, kind of dusty green, I guess you would say, on this one. And the blouse and the hat are in the different shades of pink. I used just a simple Battenberg lace doily on the background of these. Made her hat with the little pom-pom trim and some daisy flowers up here. This is a vintage piece cut out of an old doily with a flat back pearl. She's got brown hair. You notice on her face, this paper has a little bit of a print in it, but it's a very soft print, and I really like the way it blended in with the background color, the green. Her blouse is outlined in the little daisy trim, and the little 3 rhinestones go down the front of her blouse. And in this one, I used a little piece of a lace in the corner just to kind of frame the corner of the canvas, a couple of flat back pearls in pink up there, and then there is a really pretty lace trim on the bottom of this one as well. The next one is in, this one's a favorite. She is sassy, but she is in on a background, a peach background, and I love this one because I did her hair a little differently on this one. I decided to make her bang go down over her eye. The sky's really the limit with these. I really wanted to do some more experimentation with different hats and different hair styles, which I will probably do, and I'll probably alter her clothes as well on the future ones that I make. But I really adored the color scheme, how this came out. I love her hat, the darling little trim around her hat. I used a lace trim in the mint green here on the bottom edge of her hat under the pearls here. She's got the flat back pearl earrings to complement the lace on her hat. Her hair is kind of a platinum gray, I guess you'd call it a gray. And then the lace around her blouse. And I didn't put a whole lot on her blouse because the blouse itself is so busy. So she does have a sweet heart shape little bling, I guess it's like a ceramic piece at the top with a little flower bling in the middle. So that's at the top like a brooch. And then this one also has a really pretty lace trim at the bottom. She's really cute. And like I said, all of the smaller ones here have the Battenberg lace for the background. The next one is in a really pretty deep plum color, I guess you would call it. The background is in a really pretty deep plum, and because of the deep plum color, I decided to use black elements in this one for the contrast. So you had the Battenberg behind her, and then I made her hat using a black felted fabric, or not fabric, paper. The little trim around her hat, and I used purple to kind of offset the plum as the detail in her hat here, you can see, with a little piece of lace embellishment there, little applique. Again, the flat back pearl earrings for her on the sides there, and then I've used the same purple trim here at the top of her blouse as I did on her hat. Another vintage element here on top of a piece of applique, so it looks kind of like a what do you call it, an ascot, or a, you know, one of the blouses that have the piece here. I think it's maybe an ascot might be for a man, but I think you know what I mean, the little piece that hangs down from the front of her blouse. This is also felted paper, has a nice texture. The little trim around her blouse, I think, softened that. And she has a beautiful lace trim also at the bottom. So that's this one. The next one is in a really pretty soft blue, and This one to me is just screams springtime. Love her hat. Love the fabric on the hat. Or not the fabric, I'm sorry, paper. I don't know why I keep saying fabric. The paper I used for her hat here, I really, really like it a lot. Left the hat pretty plain because I wanted to use that large applique with the pearls and the flowers on it for her hat. And then for her hair, she's kind of a light ash blonde, I guess, or ash brown, whatever you call that. And then I took a marker and just lightly went up and down on the hair so you could see that it was kind of like flat bangs. You know, she had like bangs and a straight, more of a straight hairstyle. And the Battenberg again, and then here I just, same pattern for her blouse, different trim, a ribbon trim down the front of her blouse. And the flat back pearls, of course, for her earrings. And then I did the same thing in the corner. I put a little element on this one just in the corner to kind of make it, give it a little something different. And she has a real simple, basic lace trim at the bottom. She is so cute. And I really do think I have to give these girls names. And then the last one, last but not least, of course, is this beautiful one here. And she is yellow. And she's also very springtime looking. And the hat, everything from the hat down to, of course, the way I embellish her blouse here, I think is just so pretty, springy. So yeah, this piece, her hat is, again, the paper with the trim, the yellow trim here. I used some really pretty trim here and added the little flat back, or not flat back, the porcelain clay flowers in along here, and some of her flowers and some of her applique there. And then it comes down. I also put a little tiny applique up in the corner just to kind of give the corner here a little bit of something. Then, of course, down here, her dress, the same really pretty springtime looking trim and the yellow and white daisies. And then the white bow, flower bow at her neck. Another little trim down here. And a beautiful lace trim on her as well. Yeah, so there's 9 of them total, like I said. I'm really not sure. I'm experimenting right now. I do want to change their hairstyle, and I want to change their clothes and their hats. I mean, there'll be a lot of different things I'll be able to do, and you know, different ways I can alter them, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I would appreciate your feedback. Let me know what you think. These were a blast to make. It was almost like playing with paper dolls again. And that was, it was a lot of fun. And hopefully the people that get these will hope and use them as treasures in the years to come. Because all the vintage elements that I used in them, I'm hoping will provide keepsakes for people that they will want to keep and hand down in their family. So thanks everybody for watching. If you haven't, please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, bye for now.